Alright, good afternoon. Uh, yeah, more game engine development. We're actually, the engine is actually getting to a decent state. Um, at the time of doing Ludum Dare, I was saying that I think the engine is pretty much ready 2D wise. I was trying to get it ready for 3D. We're working on optimizing some mesh collider stuff. But basically all the examples I have here set up things for 2D. We've got full 2D rendering, physics, particle systems, sprite sheet animations. So I think everything is ready. One of the things I actually realized that I should do that I never did in WebGL, I did this back in OpenGL, but you can never know if things are different in WebGL, is that in the main rendering part of the engine here, it sorts the rendering by materials, which are shaders and uniforms like textures, because from my experience with OpenGL, those are the most expensive things to do state changes on, is rebinding uniforms. And then it sorts them by shader and mesh. But I actually just realized in 2D there's no other way to do that. It's literally just sorting by materials. Anyways, I'm gonna actually write a blog post, I think, about optimizing this, because this is like optimizing OpenGL 101 by reducing state calls, by sorting things into the same material and shader. Yeah, JavaScript, lol. I just really want an engine that can run in browser. Oh my god, it's really windy outside. Holy shit. Okay. So, I got my examples here, and one of the things I've been doing, to go over though, the way this works, JavaScript is like a fucked up mess. Like, let's just be honest here. If you've ever developed in JavaScript, you've probably run into what's called minified libraries, where it's like the same library but smaller by renaming a whole bunch of variables, so you can't actually understand the code of the library you're using. You just need to so you either use a non-minified version that then makes your game or app or whatever way bigger, and then if you care at all about hiding your code at all, JavaScript just exposes your code just for everyone to see. So, to get around both of those problems, I've done this thing that's like a really simple build system. It's literally a command line script that copies together that's an interesting monkey emote. It basically copies together all the files from the engine that you use. So this is like almost like including libraries. And this is like honestly probably such a stupid system. I haven't seen anything else use this. I think this is like doing your own make script. But the reason I do this is because, one, it'll run basically anywhere. I can just create a linux.sh version of this. I might be able to even do it with bash, even without shell scripting, and should run basically anywhere. And basically with this, it means that anyone anywhere should actually be able to build the engine, because it's just copying files together. So what I'm doing now is that what I realized the other day was really stupid, is that everywhere in the code that I wanted to include a file, like this color.js from engine, I would do these two backward slash that means go back a directory. And then, when I went to go build the Ludum Dare game the other day, I copied this to another directory, and I'm like, oh, now I go through all of the 6 listed files in here and, add a ... slash. And it was like, oh, that's a really stupid way of doing it. There's variables. So yeah, actually, so backwards, this is Windows. So this is actually the correct way. It doesn't work if you do forward slash. I'm not even joking. Here, you'll see here. Actually, maybe it did. But anyways, on Windows, from what I've seen, forward slash actually breaks stuff. So that's why I use backward slashes everywhere. But yeah, that's the thing, is it kind of assumes that if you're doing like if you're on Linux, you'll know how to use shell scripts. Like, this is the interesting thing about Windows, though. Who the fuck knows .bat programming these days in Windows? I'm just hoping that most people are smart enough to notice the pattern here, and that if I say you include files in the build script, in the command line build script, that I don't know. I'm gonna have a whole manual for this, so hopefully it'll work. Anyways, I'm just going through and I'm replacing it to try and use this new system, just to make sure everything works properly. So this is the color example from the engine. Let's just show off the engine while I'm here. So this shows off the color.js file included in the engine. And this includes HSV conversion functions to convert to and back from red, green, blue, and hue saturation value. It includes Kelvin. You can do black body emission. Right here, black body emission temperature. So this is like red hot, white hot, blue hot. And then it's also got a YUV. Yellow, chroma blue, and chroma green. And that's useful for like a whole bunch of stuff of like compression and like human perception of stuff. And I think these are just really useful for HSV especially is like key if you're procedurally generating colors. Alright, now I'm gonna go and do this for all the other build scripts. Let me just make sure everything is good. And then, so once we're done this, I've been thinking like, alright, what's the next thing to do in the engine? And I was thinking like, okay, what was I gonna do when I was working on the 3D mesh collision? What was I gonna do after the 3D mesh collision? And I remember now, it was .object loading external 3D meshes. And then doing basic animations. So we might actually load .object models today. We'll see. One of the things I want to do before that is I want to write some examples for the engine here. Write 3D examples, because right now all these examples are 2D. Except for the Vec 3, of course, but that's not like 3D rendering that I'm talking about. Okay, I just realized I should run this graphics example just to make sure it works. Okay, it works. The classic red-green gradient from UVs. Oh! Oh, I just realized the shaders path is different. I guess I could do engine path and then another ... backslash and then ... backslash shaders, so that way it actually is Still relative to engine path? No, that's a... I'll just do ... slash for the shaders part, because that's like different than the actual engine. Oh, another thing I was thinking about is I've been actually planning out a 2D game. I want to try and make an actual big game, like work on a... I want to consistently work on a project, even if it's not what I like focus on all the time. I've said this for a while. I want like a big game that I can just... So here's the thing, like I have so much stuff in my opinion in my arsenal in terms of like shaders, like game design things, and I've been like, I want a game that I can put these all towards. I was planning out like an actual 2D game the other day, and I've decided one of the things I want in it is that HQX rendering that I was doing, that I did on Shader Toy a while ago. I actually thought up a way to optimize that way more, where I basically can pass in sprites to a program beforehand, and it'll actually compute like the diagonals that it uses to generate the upscaled rendering. And then that way I could actually render pixel art as like full resolution vectors and have it like move like across the screen smoothly. Like actually such an interesting thing. Yeah, I have some ideas that are actually like, there's some things that are really stupid in my opinion and really big, but I still want to try them because I don't think you'd know how they work until you try them. Like an MMORPG. Not a big one, but like I have a few ideas for things in MMORPGs that's probably so stupid, but I still want to see what would happen if you played it out. Like letting people kill each other in all areas through the game. A roguelike RPG. What if you restarted from the beginning when you died? Oh, so this is the particles example. It shows a trail renderer and a like regular explosive particle system. This actually isn't a bad demo. It's rendering like 1,000 particles right now. Yeah, what I was saying a while ago, I haven't seen any good, the thing that really wants me to try and make a, MMORPG in JavaScript and in browser is that, one, I was really into in-browser MMORPGs as a kid, like RuneScape on Miniclip, Club Penguin. Like, there were some just, like, stupid little online games as well. I don't even remember the exact names of them now. There was Habbo Hotel. And I just feel like HTML5 hasn't lived up to that yet. Like, I haven't seen any, like, super polished MMORPGs that, like, basically, so here's what I'm describing. When I played games as a kid, we had Flash, which was apparently inferior to JavaScript and HTML5. But in my opinion, the games back then were way better. And like Java as well, for example, some amazing online games like RuneScape, Minecraft. Minecraft was in browser to begin with. JavaScript hasn't lived up to that in my opinion. I haven't seen like any online games that are like rivaling. And to me, that almost makes me want to go, hey, I want to try to program an HTML5 MMORPG and see what's stopping. Because, like, okay, RuneScape, for example, they tried to make a RuneScape 3 WebGL client, like, 5 years ago, and they ended up abandoning it. So, obviously, they ran into issues. So, Really curious to see what those issues are. Alright, here's the physics 2D example. Super simple, infinitely bouncing ball. Minecraft made in shaders on Shader Toy. Yep. That's not the whole Minecraft, though. And it's a lot less efficient. The actual Minecraft is actually pretty good in terms of running on, like other devices. Like phones. Minecraft actually runs pretty good on, like, devices that aren't that powerful. The reason no one wanted to play in browsers because browsers ultra. What's ultra bad about browsers though? Like you go like full screen. Oh my god, is this broken? Oh my god, this is broken. I need to fix these samples. Oh my god, when you resize it, everything breaks. This is actually such a classic problem. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go through these demos and let me check. This doesn't do anything that could bug out like that. Does graphics? No. That just renders as normal. I think the issue is that I wasn't doing reset tick timer in the one. This, let's see. Oh, I'm not doing render tick. There we go. Actually though, what makes browsers ultra bad? There we go. Alright, post-processing. We're almost done. I'm starting to think about what 3D example do I want to do. And I'm just thinking, I'm totally going to do these shaders relative to engine path, because then that way it's just going to work. Even if you change engine path, it's just going to work. Which is the way it should be, I think. Input delay. That's weird. I don't have input delay. Way too bad performance for users in real game dev, even for 2D. See, that's weird because I've had absolutely fine performance on my Android phone and on PC. The only place I've had absolutely horrible experience is on Safari on iOS, and even Chrome on iOS. It just doesn't follow W3C spec. Like, it's actually retarded. I'm not even joking. Like, iOS is a goddamn disaster in terms of following web spec. Which is really weird because everyone says that iPhones are like so good at user experience. I guess that's developer experience that I'm talking about. Seriously though, like, the input delay and bad performance you're talking about, I see that in Unity WebGL games. Like, let me just straight up show it with my... Okay, look at this. So let me show you what actually originally pushed me to WebGL. Like, this is actually a super small example of it that's happened more than this time. But, so I made this little puzzle game. It's like super generic. It's like a copy of like, I'm certain there's a bunch of other games that are like this. You basically connect letters. It's like fucking Scrabble. So I made this in Unity, right? And on Android, it works pretty good. In WebGL, even on computers here, first of all, look at how long this is taking to load. Just look at how long this is taking to load. Alright. And so I don't know if you can see, just like pressing this button, you talk about input delay. There's input delay here. It's like the sound is actually horrible. Like Unity WebGL, and I was seeing this in the Unity WebGL games that I was playing today for Ludum Dare. This is also why WSM. That's what I was saying when people were asking me why I don't use WASM instead of I actually think the mouse isn't working. Yeah, so the mouse doesn't work. Basically, Unity WebGL, super laggy experience. But then, oh wait, is this also WebGL? No, wait. So, okay, then, for example, I made this game Starbits. There's no WebGL build because the shaders just don't work in WebGL. Like, getting shaders in Unity to work in normal Unity and WebGL, you basically, and what you end up doing is you end up programming specifically for GLES anyways, which is what you would be doing in the WebGL engine. Anyways, this is probably a bad example, Quick Minds, but like, it's hard to tell. There's literally no input delay. Like, it's literally instant. Like, actual JavaScript, from what I've calculated, it has like a 15 millisecond input delay, which is the same input delay you get from going through the Windows event loop. Like everyone else does, like Unity and everything. So, like, from my experience, like, JavaScript isn't bad. Or like this, right here. Like, it actually, my clicking is, like, so lined up with the rendering. It's actually really good. WSM project, and no, it is. Is it input delay? Yeah, so, like, this is why I'm using JavaScript and not using WSM. Because of the input delay and all that. So, it's, I don't know. We'll see. But you know what I said about doing the MMORPG? I don't give things the benefit of the doubt. I have a feeling that if I go through and try and make an MMORPG, I'm going to run into some, like, serious big issues. When JS game is big like 3JS, JS becomes very slow also. Oh, that's another great thing. I hate 3JS. So this is another reason that I am trying to make this engine. I have tried 3JS, I've tried Babylon.js. I was a beta or even private alpha tester for an engine called Goo Engine, a WebGL engine. I definitely tried WebGL. Does this still work? It still works. So this is 3JS. And yeah, I hate 3JS. That's basically what I'm gonna say. It's not a good API in my opinion. Like, it works. Oh yeah, so it's frozen. I guess it's broken or something. Also why people use CSS rendering instead of WebGL, because CSS is faster for UI input like stuff. So as far as I'm aware, it's not faster. It's that WebGL is actually displayed the same way as CSS. Like, for your WebGL canvas to get displayed in the browser here in Firefox or Chrome, it actually gets buffered into like a panel or frame just like other elements in CSS. So it's like the whole argument of going, oh, I'm going to make the rendering going to make the UI rendering in WebGL so it's quicker. The modern browsers these days are already rendering the UI elements on the GPU. They're already using OpenGL for that stuff. Like, you're basically, it's like, as far as I'm aware, it's not that it's faster, it's like exactly the same. And actually, so here's the thing, it's exactly the same assuming you're smart enough to code this UI rendering smarter than like Firefox and Chrome devs. that's the real that's the real thing. Oh my god. This one. This is the, oh god, do I really want to try this game. I forgot I had this here. Hold on a second. Do I have this on my hard drive? This is like one of my first, like, in my opinion, like actual, I don't know how to describe it. Here it is. Let me try and show the source of this. So this was made in C++ and DirectX 9. Oh god, it's I don't know what part I should show, but it's not horrible in my opinion, but it has a custom map system and it's completely goddamn bugged out. Like, look at this code. Dude, look at this code. And what's crazy to me is this worked. Like, for the most part, it actually does what it's supposed to do. So let me show this. I don't know if, I don't think it still works. But yeah, you can actually make custom, you can make custom maps in it. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's completely dark. The DirectX 9 lighting doesn't work on my GPU apparently. So you can see this is an unlit object. Everything else is supposed to have lighting here, but it doesn't. Alright, so that's super buggy, but dude, that game, so here's what gets me about this game. Someone actually made a custom map in this using my text-based format that I made. And like, I was like, holy shit, man. That, like, it made me really happy having someone go in and make a custom map. Like, I feel like getting your game modded is like, I feel like that's like a thing of honor. Like, if you get your game modded, that means like people liked it. Oh, this has bugs. Okay, good. We will fix this. Try and launch in DirectX Vulkan. It supports DirectX 9. Ooh. I don't know. I wonder if I could turn on software emulation. I think that would actually do it for DirectX 9. At least properly. Hold on, it says something about asset type is not defined. Did I not include system.js or something? Oh, I did /engine. Here we go. No errors. Also, I'm thinking I'm gonna play through some scary games for Halloween in October. I don't know what to start with though. I think I might just start from some ones off the Epic Games Store that I have. I also think I might play through Fear again. I might do that first. Play through Fear like... I feel like I play through Fear probably like twice a year. Because I just love the series so much. Honestly though, actually now I can go and search up on YouTube and see when the last time I played it was. I think it was actually like almost 2 years now, so it's a really good, scary game to play. What I think is really good about Fear is that to me it's actually not, like it doesn't actually do that much horror stuff. It just sets the tone super well. Like the areas that you go through are super dark and like full of shadows and areas where your brain's constantly thinking, oh my god, what's hiding behind there? I'm actually wondering if I should go through and set this up for Linux. So I think, what's the more popular scripting in Linux? Bash or Shell? I think it's Shell scripting, right? And then Bash is like the extension. Bash is one of the many available but most commonly used of the original Born shell. Okay, if I was gonna provide a build script for Linux, would it be better to be .sh? Because then it's supported, since that's the original, would it actually be supported more commonly? Or is Bash? .sh, so is .sh... Bash is sh now. Oh, okay, so yeah, at the top of .sh scripts, you do like this, right? Bash like that, and that makes it Bash. Yeah, and so actually, if I don't need to use any Bash functions, I can just do it in a regular shell script, I believe. I think I actually should be able to just do that in a shell script. I don't think I'm going to need to use Bash. We'll see though. Hold on, wait a minute. I can just see... Do I have a build script here? GCC build. So this is just shell scripting, right? This isn't Bash. This is just a regular shell script. Can keep it as it is to not waste time. Yeah, I just want to think about how it's going to work on Linux. I think it's going to be basically the same. This copy command is going to be something different on Linux. I think it might be concat. And then set is just like this, equals. And then to replace it, I can just do $sign like that. Look like Bash. I don't know. I don't know. It like isn't like the original, isn't Bash like from the original SH script though? if you just copy text file from files to single file, it's echo. Really, that's really nice. Oh, hold on, I'll disable course. There's our little sprite sheet animation. So, oh man, one of the things I would love to try to do with the HQX filter is try to like interpolate lines. It's probably a really bad thing to do though. I'm not too old Linux user. I started using it only in 2011, so Bash versus SH not for me. So that's like me. In my opinion, the way, like, so I heard people go, "Oh, the great thing about Linux is doing all the terminal scripting and stuff." So at the beginning, I was like, okay, I was like really open-minded to it. I was like, okay, awesome, doing things with code instead of doing it by hand, or like doing it by clicking stuff. And then I started realizing that what ends up happening is you learn like one console command to do one specific thing, and you never use it again. Like, it basically ends up with you learning these like stupid little phrases and functions and things that you never really use a lot. So that's kind of my huge issue. So I tend to stay away from console commands and stuff and use the GUI systems wherever I can. Alright, script I launch, it work, I do not care. If someone reported on GitHub issues, then I fix. This is how I do this days. But you can write shell scripts or bash scripts, so that's good. How it work. If it work, I fix it. Some real user use it, and it does not work for them. That's the thing for me though, is fixing it generally all comes from understanding how it works. At least for me. Oh, this is broken. Distance 3D is not defined. Oh, and giant path. No, it's not that. There we go. Alright. All of the examples are fixed. Oh wait, no they aren't. Hold on, I still have to go through these shaders. Still need to go through the shaders and fix those. Okay. Alright. Now to do an example for scene 3D instead of scene 2D. How do I want this to work? I'm thinking since scene 2D is just this spinning round square, I'm thinking scene 3D will just be like a rotating quad. That's like a double-sided quad that just rotates. Also, one of the things that just bugs the shit out of me that I just figured out is that in the post-processing full screen effects, I draw a full screen quad, but full screen quad actually isn't the most efficient. It's a full screen triangle that takes up bigger than the screen and is then culled, so that you don't have overdraw, because the square triangle has the middle cross section where it actually does overdraw. I just almost dabbed. That would have been bad. But I can't think of any easy way to fix this. I mean, actually, I could generate a mesh here just for doing the full screen rendering. I might do that later. That's premature optimization for sure. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna need to do 3D shaders. Oh yeah, another thing I was thinking about doing is a 3D lighting system, or sorry, a 2D lighting system. I was planning out and thinking how I'm gonna do the lighting system for 3D, and I have a pretty good idea now, but then I was thinking, what about a 2D lighting system? Like, a lot of people these days want lighting for 2D. I was thinking I could do something really simple and quick where it just like covers the screen with lights and only lights up what's on screen, and then I could do shadows maybe on the CPU so it doesn't need to do any custom rendering perspective. And since like in 2D the world normally like matches up pretty closely with the physics representation, 2D GI like 100 times slower than 3D. 2D GI doesn't exist. 2D lighting isn't like an actual thing. Like the way that people try to do 2D lighting, or like there's no proper way. Like actual 2D lighting would be like seeing in one dimension. Like it's actually so stupid. Like let's say you have like some like a room or something, right? And it's got like some objects, and then you've got like your eye. Let's say this is your eye. In 2D, you've got the lights bouncing around here, right? And let's say one goes into your eye. The eye plane in 2D, is like just a flat one-dimensional plane. Like this. Like this blue plane is like the 2D cornea that absorbs light. So your vision in 2D and like what lighting would actually be is like a one-dimensional projection of this. And that's not what you want. That's not useful information to human brains. Like this is not compatible with our way of processing. This would look like, this is what this would look like. It would be a strip and then a dot of red where the light is. See the light on the right side? and then it would show up as a little dot on the right of your planar, your one-dimensional plane of vision. Oh god, that is not what you want. So what people end up doing is like some approximation of 3D lighting in 2D, where it's like as these lights bounce around, they like record that like, oh, there's a bit of red here. And then it'll basically like do a map of this, like a shadow. And then when we look at it top down, then we'll see, oh, there's a shadow here. But that's not how light would actually work in 2D. Like, if that makes sense, like that light wouldn't be going up. Like, it wouldn't be top down. It would just be going straight across here. Like it's actually not, like, it's not lighting. I don't know what you would call it. I would just call it like false shadows, or like, I don't know, something. But I think like people still want something like that. Look like Quake 3. Huh. I actually don't know what Quake 3 looks like, so alright, I guess I'm just gonna start straight ahead with the shaders, because this is actually the main part. Like, I mean, so I was, the funny thing is, I was thinking about writing a blog post about optimizing WebGL and GLES2, and I have it pretty much planned out now, talking about like optimizing so you don't switch uniforms as much, as you don't rebind textures, not rebinding meshes as much. And then I was just thinking like, man, none of that matters if you just write a really slow pixel shader. No optimization is going to save you from a while loop in your shader. In like first 3D games. Quake 3's pretty old now, isn't it? I don't know why, but I was like, oh, Quake 3 is like decently modern. 1999. Jesus Christ. When was Quake 1 released? 1996. Quake 2 was 1997. Oh my god. Wow. Okay, hold on. Let's read about Quake 3. This is actually interesting. I didn't realize this. It excluded a story, so it jumped from the original Quake series that was, as far as I'm aware, basically all single player, and jumped to highly focusing on multiplayer. The single player mode is played against computer-controlled bots. Features music composed by Sonic Mayhem. Notable features include minimalist design, lacking rarely used items, and features the extensive customizability of players such as field of view, texture, detail, and enemy model. Advanced movement features such as strafe jumping and rocket jumping. It's highly praised by reviewers for the most part, describing the gameplay as fun and engaging. Quake 2 does not have a plot-based single-player campaign. Instead, it simulates the multiplayer experience with computer-controlled players. ATI leaked the internal hardware vendor copy of the game. This was a functional version of the engine with textured level and working guns. The IHV contained most of the weapons excepting the gauntlet that would make it into the final game, although most were not fully modeled. John Carmack stated Quake 3 was the favorite game. ID Tech 3 Engine is the name given to the engine. Unlike most other games released at the time, Quake 3 Arena requires OpenGL compliant graphic accelerator. Graphic technology of the game is based tightly around a shader system where the appearance of many surfaces can be defined by text files referred to as shader scripts. How the fuck did they do shaders in 1999? Wasn't that just like GL1? Wait a minute. What? Wait. How did Quake 3 do shaders? What is the shaders? Define the properties of a surface. Dude, it's got like waveform functions and stuff. What? How does this work? Spline-based curved surfaces in addition to planar volumes. Base tight around shader system. Each layer contains a texture, a blend mode. How to superimpose these features can be readily available. Fast inverse square root. It doesn't explain anything about that. Wait. What OpenGL version did IDTech3 use? I mean, if it used GLES2, then actually there is like IDTech3 what OpenGL version? There's like, I thought there was a lot of information on IDTech3. I can't find what OpenGL version it uses. It just says it was built under OpenGL. Like, do these developers not realize that there's different OpenGL versions? What? Just OpenGL. Sorry for confusion. 2D image with single white line and red dot was look like first person, like Doom. Oh, that's true. That is how Doom works. QGL. QGL? So is this like some proprietary version of OpenGL that wasn't like released to the public? Q3 OpenGL. Can't run Q3. Using OpenGL ES2. Uses OpenGL ES2. Okay, so if they weren't using OpenGL ES2, then I guess there was some older graphics API then? That's kind of crazy. Some older API back then, yeah. Alright. Do I have a description of any of these things? No, I don't, do I? Alright, well, I'll write it out now. I'd be really interested to see what like OpenGL 1 looked like. Like, so here's what got me is that, like, as far as I'm aware, the first graphics APIs to release like OpenGL 1 and DirectX like 8, 7 and 8, I think. I swear they were only fixed function pipelines, like you couldn't do shaders. But maybe I might be completely wrong about that. so we're going to go through and we're going to document every one of the variables in here. Alright, so cam XYZ, and then the majority of them are actually the yaw, pitch, and roll. Okay. So where does this go to? This is 0W, 1X, 1Y, 1Z, 1W. Wait, does it not use all of them? Hold on. Oh my god, this skips the W component. Dude, what the hell? I'm just wasting, like... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can I compress these? I've got a missing thing here. I've got a missing thing here. No, that's not enough actually to take off values. Okay. So let's see, where does this go? So this goes to 2.y. Camera yaw. Patient matrix values. So then 2.zw is the field of view. Expect xy field of view scalar. And then the xy is the width and height. And this is inverse view distance. Okay, so what I should do now is I should actually fill these other values in. Okay, Sega and PS1 made its own API. First, I think last week I read an article about porting Detroit game from PS4 to Vulkan, and there was a line, PS4 draws much faster than PC draw calls, and they have to rework engine logic based on, I mean, console graphics API may be better than PC have now. So I think I've actually talked about this a few times on stream. As far as I'm aware, the PlayStation graphics API is like part of the thing that makes it so flexible for developers is that it has shared CPU and GPU memory. So like some of the first global illumination techniques that I saw put on consoles like 5 years ago, it was on PlayStation because they could just do the like GI computation on a mix of CPU and GPU in the shared memory. And like the regular issue where like our modern GPUs run into so much bottlenecking just from passing stuff between the CPU and GPU. That's what makes me disappointed that they like lock down PlayStation so much and that people can't like replace parts and all that. Because I do think like the console, it's like, not like the consoles are like these completely inferior things. Like there are some legitimately good things about them. Integrated GPU is so good even on PC. Sharing memory with CPU speed up so much. Yeah. That is true. Hold on, well, let me just check something. Is the aspect Y... I'm pretty sure the aspect Y is the inverse of the aspect X. Okay, it is. Sweet. So I'm actually going to output the aspect X here, and then if people ever need the aspect X or Y in shader, they can just use this aspect X and compute the aspect Y from that. Okay, there we go. So that's documented all of our scene uniform values. So now we're going to go through. We're going to do the same for objects. And let me see, I don't think I'm wasting any data here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, that's actually really good. Then I've got extra XYZW. Oh my god, this extra XYZW is so nice. This means you can like color objects, custom colors, and all this stuff without actually like doing any new things. Alright. XYZ position, what? And then I believe it just, oh, then it's the scale XYZ. Hacking this stuff together is always so weird, but it does make stuff way faster. And then 3.xyz are just the extra values. Nice. Alright, so this is the core of the 3D rendering, is doing the projection from world to camera, converting vertices from world to camera, and then that W component being the Z there, our homogeneous coordinate, that does the divide by depth that creates like 3D projection. Alright, I'll be right back. I gotta go to the washroom. I'll be back. You know what would also be really cool? If WebXR actually started getting, I don't know, polished. Dude, adding WebXR support, I would totally add WebXR support to my engine. Maybe Facebook will make its own VR API and ask everyone who used it to log into Facebook first, like Apple do. Oof, man. Oh, dude. Actually, I think you need to sign up for an Oculus developer account to use the Oculus API, don't you? To use the Oculus SDK, don't you need to put in a developer ID before the SDK starts working? I swear to God, that's what I had to do to develop for the Oculus Rift. Like, you're joking about that, but I'm not joking. I think Oculus has done that for like 4 or 5 years. Which, personally, I hate that shit, but I don't know. So that personally, that's what I love about the idea of WebVR, dude. WebVR and WebXR, after dealing with the shit of Oculus and the different APIs of Oculus, Windows XR, OpenXR, dude, having WebXR where it just handles it for you and deals with all that stupid Oculus stuff. Hell yeah, dude. I'll support Oculus if I don't have to program with an Oculus API. If the Firefox devs do that programming for me, Hell yeah, dude. I'll do the little bit of heavy working. Like the little like in my opinion, the work of adding VR to my WebGL engine is just changing a few shaders to input head matrices instead of doing this current transformation method. And it would be, in my opinion, a tiny bit of work relative to like the work that the Firefox and Chrome devs are doing getting this like universal API set up. I'm just thinking though, I actually want to make so I was saying I want to make a big game, and for that big game, I want it to be like an MMORPG. Like that's what I mean by like big game. But I don't want to just jump, obviously, straight into like online game dev. I feel like I should do a little. I say little, but like some sort of game with WebSockets to begin that isn't like a full big online game, just to like see if WebSockets have some issue with like real time doing like I don't know, maybe WebSockets have like higher latency or something. And I'm thinking though like what I want to do almost like a Halloween themed game. Like right now there's a really popular game. There's like so many popular online horror games now. There was the SCP games. Yeah, Phantasmophobia, I think it's called, that has VR support. Um, there's like, dude, Outlast is really popular from like a bunch of people I know from university. Like, out. I know a bunch of people that don't normally play video games that have played like Outlast and like the Slender Man games. And I just feel like if you can like horror is new single developer games. I feel like, yeah, I feel like online horror games is like it's definitely a good thing to develop in right now. But like I said, I was talking about this with Ludum Dare. I don't want to make a game until I have gameplay designed. Like, I don't think I'll have a problem with art or any of that stuff, but I want a solid gameplay that's actually fun to play, and that's the hardest part in my opinion. Corporations do not want to make games for VR, so they may be good for single developers. Well, yeah, that's why I think the web here is really good because like I think if anything, you can just tack VR onto web apps. Like you know on Shader Toy how it got VR support afterwards. It's basically just like, oh well, let's just add support for a different viewpoint of the camera. Phantasmophobias, some like. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? I think the base idea of phantasmophobia is actually so good. The way you fight ghosts using like the way you fight the evil paranormal entities using like items and actual mechanics instead of like it's not just like shoot 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 kill it with fire. It's like yeah, I like how unique it is with like, all right, you need to use like this special type of like herb or some shit to scare away the ghost or like yeah, you can talk with the game. That part, I would love to hear from the developer how they did that part. That like there did they do it with did they do that with like some online cloud service for speech processing? Did they do that with like the Windows speech API? It's super simple. I know it's super simple, but like it still works. So I'm curious how. But yeah, I think that's like a really good. So there was this other game that was popular right before Phantasmophobia, where you like, um, I can't remember. It was like you basically were like, cleaning up like I have no idea. Anyways, what's super interesting to me is no one really plays that game anymore. Phantasmophobia is like the the thing. They use integrated Windows voice API. They do not have own voice. Oh my god, that's super interesting. So I'm guessing they only support Windows builds then? See, that's my issue. If I'm doing it in WebGL and JavaScript, is I would like I can only record yeah. That actually wouldn't work in WebGL because you can't just record people's audio like that. It would pop up something going, "This is recording your microphone." Also, oh my god, I think I know what stops WebGL games. You can't use microphone in online games on web browsers because for real-time games you want to use unencrypted WebSockets, but you're only allowed to use the speech microphone API from HTTPS websites. Oh my god. So actually, like online voice chat wouldn't work unless you did it through some sort of like REST server. Using cloud gaming and streaming it in a web browser look much more logical for me. I think that would be way too slow though, because most people don't have near fast enough internet for the cloud gaming like that. All right, hold on, I'll be right back. MMO that full on server side completely fixed cheaters problem? True. People who watch Twitch do have fast enough internet for streaming gaming. No, it's not the same thing. Downloading from Twitch is buffered by like a second. And when you're gaming, you want like a buffer of like 10 milliseconds at most. I don't think MMOs are the thing for server sides completely because like MMOs problems is generally bots in my opinion. And like for example, RuneScape has no hackers because it's all server side tile based. Tons of bots though. And so like I don't know how you would beat that in like let's face the reality now with bots. If you put in some puzzle or something to go, oh, let's stop AI. We'll make a puzzle that's too hard for them to solve. You'll stop humans. You'll make a puzzle that's too hard for humans to solve. The bots will get through fine. Bots way too easy to deal. I don't think so at all. Google reCAPTCHA isn't working at all anymore. Like I don't know if you're aware, but like bots are just passing through Google reCAPTCHA now. Tons of sites like basically have no way of just stopping bots. Bots ways to deal with China CAPTCHA better. Really? What like alternative captchas are there? Image based captcha puzzles? Yeah, those are easy for bots to solve now though. Like the huge issue with like the Google image based captchas are like it's basically like I don't know if you've seen, but like you can actually brute force them. Just try random things and you'll eventually get through. So first of all, there's that. But that has like it's a super complicated thing. I don't think we should go into talking about how to break Google reCAPTCHA on stream. First of all, um, I believe there's like a really easy way that you can actually just bypass um, the captchas. Like I don't want to talk about, but I believe there's literally like the equivalent of like hacking into their JavaScript code and you can just go through the captcha. I don't know if that's still around, but yeah, I have no doubt that there's some better captchas, but like people just don't use them. Anyways, where I think the cloud gaming would really shine is like first person shooter games or like things where you literally do have aimbots and wall hacks that are just hackers that you can't solve that as long as you're sending the player data to the server or sorry to the client. The people can just access that data in the packets and go, hey, we know all the enemy players are here, here, and here now. We can aimbot or wall hack with that data. Like the only way is to do it all on the cloud where you just send pixels over. I think like first person shooter games on the cloud actually could be a huge market for that because you can go, there's no hackers here. I don't know though. I feel like it would almost work better if you didn't tell people it was a game on a server. Like if you almost made it look like super hot where you're like this is a game in like an imaginary server. It's not a real server. When Google makes servers close to everyone host, then cloud gaming will rise. Literally be local coast gaming. For not, my PC is best friend. That's a good point. I don't know if they'll ever do that though, because the way it looks like is like in a bunch of places here, like Canada, and I'm pretty sure the States has their same problem, as the telecoms basically own everything and literally won't let that happen. So I hope that yeah, I don't know, that would actually be pretty cool. I think that would actually be pretty cool. Alright. Going to start programming the 3D shaders now. To begin, I'm just going to do one that's just color, no texture or anything. I guess maybe I should do vertex color. No, because no one really uses vertex color anymore. I'll just do plain 3D color. Alright. I might do a custom shader for this. I don't know. Because I just realized this won't actually render anything. Whatever, I'll just make a textured object shader. Alright. I might be wrong, but I think that's good. I actually want to check the graphics, because I can't remember what I named these vertex attributes. Yeah, VUV. Alright, now I'm going to create custom, I'm actually going to create a custom shader for this because I want to draw the UVs of the quad mesh, and that isn't a shader that I want to include in the general 3D stuff, so quad UV shader. That look, it's so weird writing that when it's all red. just because I have it in JSON mode currently. Alright, so then let's make quad.material. Use your shader quad.glsl. We don't need depth test or depth right because it's a quad. We don't need any blending because it's a quad. We don't need any data because it's a quad. Easy. Now we need to do setup 3D instead of 2D. And we need to create 2D, or create a 3D scenery object instead of 2D. Alright, and then the same thing where we just enable the rendering. Oh yeah, and we gotta do a 3D camera instead. Start it at -5Z. Place this with quad. We're gonna make the quad rotate. Alright. Now hopefully this will work. I don't know. Maybe. Box is not defined. Scene3d.glsl not found. Did I forget to change the includes? Oh, yeah, it's still general 2D. I think it should work now. Error constructor, too many arguments. Oh, okay. On 47. See, I don't think it's anywhere here because I've used that a lot before. What is line 47 of this? Position equals vec4. Oh, it returns a vec4. Of course. Not of course. That's not obvious at all. It's kind of... So in 2D it returns a 3D coordinate because you still use Z for depth testing. And then in 3D you return a 4D coordinate because you need your homogeneous coordinate to fix up your UVs and normals during interpolation. Mesh is null. Oh, of course, I'm stupid. I didn't set the mesh. Quad.mesh equals quad mesh. Quad dot geometry equals gl.triangle strip, or is it triangle fan? Okay, I think it's triangle strip. It's working though. There we go. Oh, I just need to disable culling in the material. Cull off. Perfect. Beautiful. So there's our 3D example. It just shows off a 3D quad. I'm just making sure everything like the screen resizing is working properly. It is. Very nice. So then, now I have to actually make the next 3D example, and I haven't thought about that at all. Huh. First of all, let's make sure this is all... Yeah, this is all commented. What should the next 3D example be? Okay, while I'm thinking about this, I want to talk about... I just thought of actually a reason why I kind of want to really get the .object loading today. So the other day, I was looking for demo scenes or 3D models to use as like demo models for a nice complex scene for like lighting or the rendering in the engine. And I was like, oh yeah, this San Miguel model is absolutely massive, and it's like a gig. It is like a gig.object file, and the low poly is 598 megabytes. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty big. I think that would be a good demo. And I was actually like, in my head, I was like, oh, a gig, that doesn't seem that big for a 3D model file these days. Or like 600 megabytes, that's not that big. And then I went to go try and open it in Blender. And let me show you, let me open this in Blender right now. Let me show you what happens when you open this in Blender. Now, I'm really hoping this isn't going to crash OBS. But to sum it up, through trial and error, I actually found out that if you keep this thing split by object on, it will crash Blender. Because I think it'll split the mesh up, and I don't know, it uses up so much memory or something. So turn these off just for optimization. Alright, go. So at this point, Blender basically just freezes for like 4 minutes. So I'm probably going to go and do some other stuff while Blender loads this. And I'm actually kind of determined to try and make a demo scene using this, because seeing how slow Blender loads this, I'm not joking, I think I could make a better .object importer in JavaScript. And I'm not joking there, because like, it shouldn't be taking up this much time, and if you, I'm not going to open Task Manager, but if I do, it's using like all of my RAM, and I'm pretty sure it's the Python coding inside Blender that's doing that. I think I could do a better one in JavaScript, and I would love to try and test doing that, like have a faster model loading in WebGL. So yeah, it actually made me more determined to try and load this model in WebGL. So that's kind of why I want to do the .object loading, is to just abuse the hell out of my PC. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and when I made modifiers for simple plain on scene in Blender, I use more than 12 gigabytes of RAM. Sometimes it's crazy. I feel like a lot of modern software like this just has the approach of like, well, if the user's not using the RAM, we might as well use it, right? Alright, I think the next example I'm going to do is going to be like this primitives 3D example where it creates primitive objects or primitive 3D shapes. Because I think this is a really good demo one. I think I might actually just copy the code from this. Some scripts and modifiers in Blender use lots of resources. Oh yeah. They use plenty. Yeah, I think I'm just going to copy the code from this. I'm just thinking how I want to do this. Do I want to make another custom shader? I think I do. Alright, so let's check. Let me actually think. What does this need? I think it uses Mesh Builder. Okay, actually, we could just look at the code here. Uses Mesh Builder. Uses procedural primitives. Procedural primitives uses the procedural mesh. Okay. Oh, it loaded in. Alright. So this is the San Miguel mesh. It's 5.6 million triangles. I think it's pretty cool. My middle mouse button is bugging out. Hold on. Oh my god. So this is so detailed. Man, Blender is really hard to view models in. Anyways, it'll lag again if I do enable materials, but it'll load in all the textures. Sketchfab with 50mm triangle meshes, and it loads without lag in the browser. So what I think, as far as I'm aware, Sketchfab actually does, I don't know what to call it, like level of detail or like streamed rendering, where it renders the stuff in front of you at a higher quality mesh, and the stuff behind you is lower quality, and it streams it in off the web server as you go around. Walk mode. How do you do walk mode in Blender? I haven't used Blender in like since it updated, or like I still haven't gotten used to the new Blender UI, even though in my opinion it looks so much better. But yeah, you can see like, oh man, it has some really ugly temporal anti-aliasing. When you move stuff just jitters out of existence. Like these chairs. But when it does render, it actually looks pretty good. But dude, like, look at how detailed this scene is. Oh man, if I could get detailed lighting in this scene, it would be beautiful. It would be beautiful, like in real time in WebGL. Oh my god. Couple tips for navigating a big scene in Blender.
Navigating in an environment can be tricky once the scene is big. In such a case, you can use walk mode. Press G to activate gravity. Just make sure you're actually inside the model. Now you can walk around in your scene with the arrow keys and...
Oh my god, hold on. I'm an idiot. I just completely missed that.
An environment once the scene is big.
View. Navigation. Fly navigation. Walk navigation. G. Dude! That's actually really good. Oh my god, dude, thanks so much. It is actually such a useful feature. Holy shit. I love how when you press space it just like launches you forward. I'm gonna be honest, dude, Blender looks so good now. Like just loading in a simple model. Like I know it doesn't really have lighting right now, but it actually still looks pretty good. Blender's come a long way. See, here's the thing though about using this 3D model. I would have to fix up all of these foliage meshes. Like all of this foliage, I would have to go through, like look at how many materials there are. No joke, there are 280 something materials in this mesh. Oh wait, you can't see this. Wait a minute. There's 280 materials. So I would have to go through like 20 of these at least of foliage and select them as like transparent materials manually. I don't know, man. Or maybe actually, hold on. No, actually I don't. I don't need to do that. So what I'm thinking of the process for this is what a really nice thing to do would be to have it so that, okay, so I don't want to have it, I don't want to make a custom importer for .object materials, because it's like different, I already have this material system using JSON in my engine, but what I can do is I can create a tiny little tool that will convert all the .object material files into JSON. Wait a minute. Let me just see something though. I'm super curious. How in a model like this are all the material files laid out? So here's all the textures. How many gigs of textures is that? 133 megabytes. Okay, yeah, so the material file just has all the materials in one. Beautiful, beautiful. This is really good. This is really good. So this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little custom tool. Hold on, there's OCD. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Okay, so here's the issue, is you might want one shader for something that has bump maps, and you might want another shader for something that like has specular maps. So this is the whole thing. In my opinion, it's not just like a simple thing of, oh, just convert .object materials to like materials in your engine, because like, yeah, you could have so many custom lighting shaders and things. But here's my thing. If you're doing this for like a model like this that's almost like a whole scene, it's worth it. And like, in my opinion, this is like a key thing to a lot of people, is just to be able to just import like existing models like this. And I think .object is like by far the most universal. So my whole idea is to make this little tool that you can pass in .object material files like this. And then you also will say, hey, I want to use this named shader. And I actually want you to also use this different shader if there's bump maps. And like, thinking about it, that would actually end up being a matrix, which is actually easily possible to do. Basically like a table of different materials or shaders you would use, depending on if there's a bump map, if there's a specular map. But like, that's the thing, it would be so useful because you could just take models like this and it would just work. And in my opinion, it's not that much work. That's kind of in my opinion, that's the point, is like to reduce the work a giant amount. Because you can just, instead of having to go through and like create materials yourself, or trying to import these and then later relating them to material shaders. Alright. Miss one detail? Feel free to let me know. So one thing I want to do here is I do want to try and clear up I want to try to delete. So the way I'm going to do this, hold on, I want to go back to walk mode because walking mode is so good. Actually, what about fly navigation? Okay, fly navigation works. This, I'm going to block off. I'm going to do like a wall or something here. Okay, fly navigation is janky as hell. You want custom shader per object? No, it's just I can't use, it's not custom shader for every object, it's just that you can't use one shader for every object, which is what would be easiest to do if you're trying to import like a single material file that represents hundreds of materials like in this. If a render object with custom shader and its own draw pass with all objects with the same shader can be done in single draw pass. Yeah, so I actually think most of these in the example scene that I'm going to try and do will be rendered basically with the same shader. But I don't know, we will see. What I want to do is, though, I want to try to, I don't know, I'm thinking I might not. I was saying I might cut off right here, but this is actually nice, because then I can just, I could just put an invisible wall right here, and it still, it kind of gives the illusion that there's still an area over there. Dude, the textures in this are so detailed. Oh my god. So, okay, I'm just thinking about actually putting this into like a demo example. I'm thinking what I would want is I would want to actually model like a collision mesh for this as well, so people can walk around in it. Because I obviously can't check collisions against 5.6 million triangles. That wouldn't be effective. We'll see. I'll try I'll try building a simple 3D scene first. Let's just see. I'm gonna fix this up much. Yeah, I think I could do this a little bit better. This way I'm doing this add object function. I think maybe just rename the function. It is kind of a nice way of doing it. I don't know. Let's try writing it out the other way. So let's try doing this without the function. objects in circle. Alright, that's that's actually kind of good, because now I can describe this all. Scale. Rotation. Alright, now I think just repeating this for the rest of everything. Cube roundness. It's kind of unintuitive using the primitive cube to generate a sphere, but I mean it works, and it means writing less code, so, and having build sizes be smaller, so I think it's nice. Alright, just torus, triprism, and then hex prism. Let me just make sure I'm documenting these right. This is the mesh detail, right? I seem to remember the... Oh, no, yep, both triangles, okay. So these last two are going to be easy. Alright. I just wrote the code in the wrong file. All right. So at the beginning, I think, I don't know, I might visualize UV. I don't know, let's do it. Simple, constant, directional light shader. Also, we need to do depth testing, depth rating for this, and that's actually default. So we can just turn off all this stuff and just do shader lighting. All right, and we need to actually convert the object normal, this v normal, to world position by using our local to world function. And actually, yeah, this is actually the reason I remember I did this local to world rotation, is because normals don't have any position or anything. So this is actually wrong. It's just local to world rotation. Which, you know what, actually, that's the slow part anyway, so it doesn't really make that big a change. But anyways, local to world rotation, convert normal to world space, and then calculate simple Lambert dot product lighting. Render our object using this light. I think that should be good. Syntax error. Oh, I forgot a comma. And because I copy and pasted code, I copy and pasted the same mistake over and over again. Proc prim generator is null. Oh. yeah. I need to set up procedural primitives. Yeah. And then I need to say whether I want tangents and normals. I just want normals. I think I also had some pitch rotation on it. They look broken. They look broken. What did I do differently? It looks like the normal's completely broken to start. It's weird how it's going bright and dark there. Alright, I need to go and look at this original example code and see what did I do differently. Did I have the maybe I had the material code oriented differently? Local to world rotation. Oh, it's v norm. I don't think that could cause... Whoa, those meshes are bugged. The meshes are bugged. Why are the meshes bugged? Oh, don't include normals in mesh. Beautiful. Very nice. I really like this example. Very simple, but shows off 3D rendering. Now, what's the next example I should do? Like, I almost feel like after, well, okay, I should do procedural terrain, and I should do procedural mesh. And then I think we'll do dot object loading. I don't think we'll have enough time for that, though. It's not right now. Maybe tonight. Maybe tonight.
I am impressed.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Japo and Jin. Hold on. Hold on. I just realized there's... That's a block. That's a triangle prism. That's supposed to be a hex prism. What is happening? Oh, this is supposed to be a 10, I think. Generate hex prism 1. Oh, I must have just wrote this wrong. There we go. Let's see how much better does it get doing 3. Almost makes it more circular. No, I'll stick with 2. That's actually really interesting. It's almost like... Huh. Nah, I don't know. I thought maybe it worked with 1 before, but no. So let me just rename this. Primitives. 3D primitive shapes example. Alright. I'm just going to move on to a procedural terrain example. Honestly, I think the procedural terrain be a lot easier than... I'm actually wondering, because the procedural terrain... I think I should have a separate example for procedural terrain and a separate example for procedural mesh. I think those should be separate. Yeah. Alright, and we're going to need to create, yeah. So I do think it's really good to make them separate, because we're going to need a separate terrain shader and a separate object shader. Actually, at least I think. I don't know. Yes, I do think the procedural terrain is going to be easier to generate than that last one. We just create a procedural terrain, say the width, height, length. The hard part is going to be creating our function for the terrain. What should I do? Terrain height is hills, maybe using sine slash cosine. This returns height at a x and z point. Super simple stuff, but that's all we need for an example. Oh wait, I'm also going to do a color function actually. So that'll look way nicer. So wait, I think the color function takes in an XYZ. Yeah, takes in the height, so then you can color based off height. Let me just see, the procedural mesh works the same way, right? Color function, points ti. Yeah, okay. Between green below 0 and rock above 1 for brown. And I actually think there's X, Y, Z, W, like there's full red, green, blue, A color. So I need to choose my two colors I want. I can't remember what brown is, but I'm just gonna try and guess it. So lerp equals map.max 0, clamp it between 0 and 1. We're gonna lerp across Y. Doing manual lerping. I should probably have a function or something. The issue with JavaScript, man, is that functions can't output vectors or anything like this. Alright, there we go though, that should do it. By 10 cells, one cell size. Do we want normals? Yeah, let's do normals. Hold on, is base x the center? I think it is. Like I do. Yeah, I do LZ minus half. Alright, so it is centered. Alright, and I think what I'm going to do in this example is actually have the camera rotate around it, and maybe you can control the camera. No, I'm just going to rotate it in its own position, just keep things simple. Alright. ToMesh is not a function. I swear it is. No, I guess I only did this in the procedural primitives and in the mesh builder. Alright, create mesh. Create mesh from data. Terrain is undefined. Oh my god, I'm still calling this object instead of terrain. Nice, it's working, but our camera just isn't far enough back. Alright, let's turn culling off. So this way you can see both sides. Very nice. So there's our example terrain. Beautiful. And that actually worked out pretty good. The brown kind of looks like sand, and the green does look like grass. It's supposed to look like grass turning to rock up above. I think it kind of does that. It's interesting though, there's a banding that you can definitely tell is from the interpolation on the GPU. Sometimes forget how bad precision some of this stuff is from interpolation. Either way though, I think pretty good for WebGL. So let me try to get the procedural mesh example done now. I'm just trying to think, what should I do for a full 3D procedural example? I feel like I might hold this one off until I actually have 3D lighting, and then I do good 3D lighting in that. I think that's the way to do it. So I think the next thing I want to do is actually load in 3D objects, like dot object models. Maybe not the materials yet, but at least the 3D models. That'll be it though for now. I think I'm going to come back and stream tonight because I want to get this dot object wavefront 3D model format going in. Everything from then on is actually going to get so much cooler. Just importing existing 3D models makes things way better, opens the door to like actual 3D games. I was saying I want to do some blend morph animations where I like lerp between one mesh and another. I've never actually tried to do that in a vertex shader. And I mean, like, WebGL 1 seems like a good opportunity to try and do that. Alright, I just realized this camera here is frozen. I wonder if the wind was actually so strong that it actually hit the camera offline. Anyways, nature camera will be fixed after the stream if you're interested in watching that. I'll be back again tonight. If you have any questions, I'm on Discord or Twitter. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for watching.